Got this car a couple weeks back, and he said he had Honda guys go through the engine with him because his experience in the midgets and the Focus midgets was with a Honda power. So he's got it tuned in with those guys as best he can.
Good looking race car and quick. Let's check in with Tony Stevens.
For the second in Washington Midget Racing.
Well, we've lost him for now. This is Garen McLeese out of Olympia, Washington, out on the track.
This year he raced in 6 Washington Midget Racing Association races, won one of them, finished top 5 in the remaining 6 of the 6 races. He had 5 top 5s and 6 runs. Average finish 2.83. He finished second in points this year. His main nemesis is also racing here this weekend. He's the only driver to win a championship in the Washington State Racing Association other than Tony Seidelman, who we'll see here shortly, in the last 10 years.
Looks like he's 5th, 15.595. Final lap, pushing it to the checkers, and he moves up a little bit, goes to 3rd, 15.171. Let's try Tony once again.
Ralph down here in the tech area with Todd Bertrand, and you're just kind of hanging out. Fast time. Is this what you normally do? Just kind of chill and wait for the fast timer, or are you worried about somebody in particular?
Well, the transponder didn't work in the first practice. That's why we had to go out so early. There's a bunch of fast guys left, but generally I think I'm pretty satisfied in terms of how the car is handling for my first time here at the track. And I've never driven a wingless midget outside of IRP. So, to come here and to feel like the balance is pretty good, and for me to also have to change my driving style, it's a lot shorter of a track. So, we run these size tracks back with the Northeastern Midget Association in the Northeast. So I was able to adapt pretty quickly, but, obviously worried about my own teammate. Cody's been fast all weekend, but I'm grateful for all of his support in terms of, his setup advice and driving advice as well. So just super proud to be here and to have an opportunity to compete.
Todd Bertrand, currently P1.
This is Courtney Crone out of Corona, California, in the number 5. Courtney, Jim, has spent the majority of the year driving an LMP3 prototype in sports car racing with the IMSA WeatherTech Championship and also in the German Prototype Series. And she just ran 6th quickest with a 15.630. I was talking to her this afternoon, and she said, I haven't been in a midget in 4 or so years. So Courtney's just happy to be back here. She moves up to 5th now with a 15.281. She's just excited to be back in an open-wheel race car and having some fun here. Thinks she's going to be doing some Lamborghini Trofeo Series competition in 2024 as she continues to chase the sports car racing thing. Lamborghini's coming out with their new hypercar in the IMSA WeatherTech Championship. So she's hoping that by going to the Trofeo Series, maybe that's a pathway to getting in that hypercar. We wish her all the best with that.
Yeah, she raced here a couple of times 10 years ago.
Yeah, she's a good racer.
And it's Trey Van Dyne's car. He's got a good piece, and Jesse Love, the bound for the racing, Richard Childress Racing in the Xfinity Series. He actually won, Trey Van Dyne did, with Jesse Love. Back in the Bay Cities midget days for Jesse, who was all of 18 years old now.
Yeah, the BCRA.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse was supposed to be driving that car that Courtney's in, but he's got a test and couldn't be here, so she got the call. This is Ryan Shilkuski in the 48.
The only driver from the great state, the land of Lincoln, Spring Valley, Illinois. So his Esslinger-powered Beast at IRP in October on Championship Saturday. Around he goes in turn 2. Locks it down. Man. Long, lazy spin there for Ryan. He got a lap in. 15.262. It's at 5th quick right now. So every midget's going to make the 40-lap feature. That's why I'm thinking some of these guys are not pushing it, because there's not that risk of worrying too hard, too often about mashing the gas to get in the show and qualify.
Let's see if we can figure out what happened. Loose coming off of 4 a little bit.
Going into 1. Got a little low.
There we go. You can just see it starting to step out on him.
Yep. Notice the helmet. Speed Racer M for the Mach 5 on the helmet. Love it.
Oh, yeah. Like
Love
that
it.
a lot.
I'm sure Ryan's not liking his tires right now, and the tires aren't liking how Ryan kind of made them all angry there, spinning in 1 and 2. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Next in the chute, Tony Seidelman out of Marysville, Washington. He has been the dominator when it comes to the Washington Racing Association, the Midget Racing Association that he's been a 9-time champion of. Washington Midget Racing Association, 9 of the last 10 titles, over 20 wins. He won the championship again this year.
So the entry list I'm looking at says he's out of Spanaway,
Okay.
home of Daytona 500 winner there.
Derek Cope,
Derek Cope.
1990. This one looks like another Daytona 500 winner. It's chrome, like Darrell Waltrip's chrome car back in the day.
Oh, he's real loose in 3 and 4 in the center there.
He's the apron to turn with the left front, it looked like.
He goes to number 3 with a 14.486. Tries to deep down into the corner. Gets it to turn.
There we go. That should be a good lap.
He'll stay in 3rd.
First lap was faster, huh?
I was talking with Davey Hamilton this morning, and he was telling me, boy, you can really drive it deep in the corners here, Jim. He said he wasn't lifting in the sprint car till he got to the center of the corners between 3 and 4 and 1 and 2.
If you see the black line here, the racing line for the cars that race here weekly, it's a big bowed backstretch that they're pushing off onto. You can get a lot of speed into turn 3, and turn 4 shortens up. It's almost like a D shape here. So you got to be right into 3 because 4 is a lot narrower, a lot tighter radius than turn 3. That's the 47 of Nathan Bird, the Birdman. Out of Goodyear, Arizona, Tim Bertrand's second of 3 entries we'll see here qualifying for the $10,000 to win 50-lap midget race here tonight at the Bullring. Nathan ran this car in October at IRP. Lucas Oil IRP in Indianapolis. That was a big 3-division show there with the Silver Crown Series.
And knowing Nathan, he probably drove all 3 divisions that weekend because he's driving everything he can get his hands on.
He only ran 2 that weekend. Did not run the 500 Sprint Car Tour that he did some racing in last year with.
Checkered flag for Nathan.
Yep.
And he is going to be, let's see here, number 2, 14.088. Those Bertrand cars are good, huh?
Yeah, they're really good. Really good. Pavement-specific cars.
Good here.
Brand spanking.
Let's go down to Tony.
Well, guys, we talk about some of the tech things going on here, and I know there's a lot of diehard sprint car, midget, super modified fans that are watching this, and what I'm about ready to explain to you is probably not anything special, but there's a lot of new fans coming in, whether they're family members or neighbors or whatever the case might be, and people are wondering, well, you go through tech after, and you send it back to the trailer, and the rule is you got to start the feature on the right rear tire you qualified on. So how do you do that? Well, it's very simple, actually. Take a look. They're gonna come right over here, right on cue. They've got a special stamp with a certain color. They're going to stamp that tire on both sides, and that, as simple as it is how you determine that the teams and the drivers are playing by the rules to make sure they start the race on that right rear tire they qualified on.
This is Michael Finelli, who's 3rd quick right now.
He has
14.291.
Michael by far is the most laps of anybody here at the Bullring in a midget.
He's from Rio Rancho, New Mexico, and he's going to stay in 3rd.
2016, he's had a ton of races here. 12 races at the Bullring in the Ignite Midget Series. 3 wins that season. 14 more starts at the Bullring in the next 3 seasons, 2013 through 2015. He had Western States Midgets today. He ran the National Midget race here. He's got a ton of laps here, and Finelli's excited. He hasn't run a midget in a while. To get back to what would be his second home track is pretty exciting for Finelli. He's been racing dirt more than pavement lately. Western States sprint cars. One of the favorites, Tanner Swanson, in one of the entrants out of the IPC pits. Jeff West brought a fleet of cars here, and Tanner Swanson's a great pick to drive it.
0-1 entry.
The Californian, his older brother is Cody Swanson. Tanner, really good on pavement. He won his 8th Silver Crown race of 10 total in USAC competition at IRP in October.
14.327 to put him 5th as he comes to finish up his final lap here under the clock.
8 Silver
to the
Crown.
line,
Yep.
and he moves up to 4th with a 14.191.
8 Silver Crown wins there, 1 midget win there, and he won the 500 Sprint Car Tour race, beating his brother last October. He's good elsewhere as well. He won at Berlin, and it was Worldwide Technology Raceway in Silver Crown as well. I see when he gets to race the Lucas Oil Little 500 each year, and he just loves racing, but he's got a full-time job in the banking industry in his home state of California. Doesn't get the chance to race as much, but jumped at the chance here, no question, to run the Bullring. A little surprised he was fast. He was not faster. He was really quick yesterday in practice sessions. One of the faster cars throughout the revolving sessions we had yesterday and this morning. This is the young driver who won at the age of 18, the youngest ever winner of the Lucas Oil Little 500, Jake Traynor, in Matt Seymour Racing's machine that day, carrying the number 29 of Boston Louis Seymour. Today it's the number 29 as a teammate to the car we just saw in the Jeff West stable out of Franklin, Massachusetts. Is Bobby Santos yet to come? This is Jake Traynor out of Medway, Massachusetts. Perennial favorite, Nemo Lights midget champion. Those are wing midgets that we just talked about, a driver who raced a bunch with wings that Bertrand had raced against him a bunch, but Jake's a young driver to keep an eye on for certain.
Jake goes number 1 with a 14.006. And he's going to run it deep down into 3 here, and let's see if he can be even quicker on this lap.
I'm going to say my money's on yes.
Nope.
No.
But he's got the number 1 spot for now.
Smart young man, got to race in the 500 Sprint Car Tour the last 2 races this year, won the year prior. And the Little 500, Ralph, I got to tell you, I was so impressed. He qualified on the front row in his first ever try. They raced 33 sprint cars on a quarter-mile track, Anderson Speedway. Start them all 11 rows of 3. He was never a straightaway or more behind the leader all race. Got the opportunity to make a pass in traffic late and led the last 55 laps
of
that 500-lap race.
Well, this is a famed name in racing from the Northern California area. Chuck Gurney Jr. out of Livermore in the 51.
40 years young, makes a living working for Keith Kunz Motorsports. Great to see him taking a drive here on the pavement. We had sessions earlier today. The groupings were just 4 to 5 cars at a time, and he won his group with the speed he has in this Jeff West number 51.
There's Chuck on the clock. He's going to be 8th for now, 14.392.
Indy Performance Composites. Brought a bunch of great-looking race cars and really fast ones at that, with Gurney behind the wheel of this
one. Up to number 2, 14.063.
Chuck Gurney's dad was the co-grand marshal of the Turkey Night Grand Prix this year. Chuck Gurney, I watched him race many a time at the Copper World Classic. He was the winningest driver in the Copper World Classic history across all divisions.
Let's go to Tony.
Jake Traynor just pulled the car off the scales, took the gloves off, getting the helmet removed and the Hans. And yes, he's got a smile I can see underneath that balaclava. There it is. P1 so far. Do you think that's going to stand up? And how scared are you of the invert that's likely coming?
You know, I don't know if it'll stand. I didn't feel all that great. I know there's still a lot of good guys coming behind me here, but, you know, it'll be interesting to see what the invert is. It could help us, it could hurt us. We don't really know. Haven't been in too much traffic here yet. We'll see when the race comes around.
That's Jake Traynor, currently P1 in the midgets, guys.
Yeah, and this is a driver out of Canby, Indiana, Kyle O'Gara. And Kyle's number 1 with a 13.878. First driver into the 13s.
O'Gara with great experience, races all levels of racing on pavement.
Not quicker on the second lap.
He's raced at IRP. He has got a very fast Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing number 67 here today. He's raced in the 500 Sprint Car Tour the last couple of seasons. couple of wins this year there, but in this midget, he's been really strong. I saw him a couple times last year and this year in this same car at IRP, racing at a high level. He raced all 3 divisions. You talk about 3 guys, 3 ago, he raced all 3 divisions this past October on the pavement in Indy. One of the favorites, looks kind of similar, different cool paint scheme on the IPC Indy number 898. This is Bobby Santos. Stopped by his pits while he was practicing his winged sprint car. Made some changes on the front shocks after practice this morning to get that car a little bit stiffer across the front. Added some gas to the shocks. Santos, one of the best when it comes to pavement racing. First time here at the Bullring this weekend.
And he's 4th right now, 14:07.5. Let's see if he can be quicker on this second lap, make a run for the pole.
2020 Little 500 champion.
No, second with a 13.967. So the top 2 cars in the 13-second range. Back to Tony.
Kyle O'Gara rolling off the scales. Team trying to get the car righted here. He's already got the helmet off and get it pointed so they can get it pushed back towards the pit area. We're going to walk with him real quick and try to take a second and get a word with Kyle. A lot of things happening very quickly down here, guys. And Kyle, in the 13.8s, how happy are you with the car now for race this evening?
We still got some work to do. You know, we don't pride ourselves on qualifying with our team, so we build good race cars and happy to get down in the 13.8s.
We'll see if it stands, gentlemen.
Driver out of Ione, California. This is Justin Grant in the number 3. It's an old Tracy Hines car.
Beautiful piece, and this driver is one of the most talented open wheel racers in the last generation, of this generation. Won yet another USAC championship this year. For the 3rd straight year, he's won the Mike Curb USAC National License. He's raced every national USAC midget race across midget, sprint cars, and Silver Crown this year and last year.
7th on the board with a 14.113. He's going to have to pick it up on this lap. Thing is, though, Jim, as he was telling me earlier today, not a lot of experience lately in these pavement midgets. And he goes to number 3. 3 cars now in the 13-second range, a 13.981. Boy, that is close.
Finished 3rd in May on the pavement at IRP in the midgets. Not a lot of time because there's not a lot of opportunity. USAC stopped sanctioning national pavement midgets about a decade or so ago. So his focus, and obviously very, very talented driver, has raced a bunch with the USAC National Series here, making a living at it the last 5-6 years, and certainly a threat when it comes to the Chili Bowl each year.
Here's Tony.
Bobby Santos, fresh off track. Not quite the pole, but how happy are you with this race car now?
We're close. We gotta get a little bit better. It's a little too free there. Just gotta keep working on it so we're good when it counts.
It's going to count here in just a couple of hours.
Chester, New Hampshire's Chase Locke in the number 1.
Another IPC Indy sponsored car. Jeff West has brought a fleet, and this one is the blue chrome on top of black, number 1.
Well, he was a little loose on entry there.
2 wins in the NEMA Lights this year. 3 wins and 32 starts in that division. Those are winged midgets. NEMA Lights are smaller in horsepower, but man, they fly, and he's used to that wing. And you can tell by the big push in 3 and 4, trying to get the most of it here.
10th, and now he's going to stay there. His best run, a 14.191.
17 years of age, getting a chance to race in this really good equipment. Chase Locke out of Chester, New Hampshire. Became the youngest ever Supermod race winner at Oswego Speedway in June of 2022. So doing a lot of high horsepower and low horsepower wing open wheel racing in Oswego. And across the Northeast. Next up, the driver that's been fast every session on the racetrack. This is Cody Swanson. Out of Kingsburg, California. This is another car that's teamed with those white number 44 and 47 cars we saw. Tim Bertrand bought this car. The first time that they paired together, Cody had worked with Dan Drynan in October at IRP in the championship Saturday events and won that race convincingly in this midget.
Well, he's right down below that yellow line. He's number 1, 13.811. Now, how much can he lower it? A little higher this time through 3 and 4. Not quicker. 13.811. That's your number one qualifier, Cody Swanson.
He's won the Little 500 3 times. He's the USAC winningest driver in the USAC Silver Crown Series, a 7-time champion there. Finished second in points this year. He's done everything he possibly can. He also was the last driver to win here in a USAC-sanctioned midget race back in 2010. That's his last time here, and he said a few things he remembers, but it's a lot different. This car he actually drove back when it was owned by the prior owner, and it's really cool to see that tradition carries on. Matter of fact, Cody went to the shop in Massachusetts last week to help set the car up before heading this way.
You know that saying of, if I win the lottery, I might not tell you, but there'd be indications?
Yeah.
You know that deal?
I've heard that recently, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if I won the lottery,
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you, Jim, but there's an indication that I might have done it, and that would be that Cody Swanson has a sponsor for the Indy 500.
Oh, man.
Because I cannot figure out for the life of me how that man has not had a ride there.
He's won literally in everything he's driven. USF 2000 at IRP, he won that race. He hasn't raced much before that. He got in a stock car. He won during the New Smyrna Speedway World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing in a Pro Late model. Won another 100-lap race in the CRA Series in a stock car. All the while chasing this dream. He's 35 years of age. He moved to Indianapolis in 2010 to pursue his racing dreams from his home state of California.
I can't figure out how he doesn't have a ride in a sprint car here this weekend.
The Doran Binks team that has had his Silver Crown and sprint car team just didn't get it prepared in time. They weren't comfortable in what the time they had remaining, waiting on some parts to get to the shop to get the car right
I get
for
it,
here.
and I know Dan Binks produces a great car. I'm just telling you, you put Cody Swanson in a paved wing sprint car here, be the best bet to win money in Vegas this whole weekend.
He's starting to prove the worth here in the midgets. Cody Swanson is an ambassador, but also my friend Dr. Pat Sullivan, who's done a lot of announcing and a lot of observing and now works in the USAC office, said Cody is one of the best talents he's ever seen in a race car. Our friend Dave Augerbright said that he's the best guy on pavement anywhere when it comes to this level of racing and higher, when it comes to midgets and Silver Crown, and his dedication and loyalty and preparation for the sprint cars he gets to work on in the Doran Binks shop on occasion in Ohio. And race those to a championship and second in the points this year in the Little 500 style non-wing sprints. He's really, really good.
Tony.
Cody Swanson, fast time in a midget, no surprise. So what can we expect in the feature from you?
I mean, I don't know that I'd take it quite like no surprise, right? There's a bunch of good cars here, but I'm really fortunate to be driving this Bertrand Motorsports number 47, right? A bunch of great people working on it, a bunch of great people helping us over the phone from home, right? So it takes many hands to make a fast car, and thankful to be driving this one. Thankful to go quick time. As far as what to expect, there's a big draw coming up, right? So I don't know what the invert will be. I know it'll be tough to pass because of the quality of cars, right? There's a bunch of good ones, a bunch of good drivers that'll start in front of us, depending on what that is. And so the hard part is figuring out a way by. But I'm thankful to have a good car, and hopefully we can do it anyway.
Now, Ralph, a moment ago in the booth, I don't know if you've been privy to this or not, but we're going to make you privy to it, said he's going to start a campaign to get you a sponsor to run the Indy 500. Are you on board with that?
Yeah, that would be really neat. But sorry about that. It's been a real blessing to be able to do what I've done and the career I've been able to have. I would love to have that opportunity, but at the same time, man, I'm so grateful for the opportunities I have had, for the people that I've been involved with, and a chance to do something I love.
I see the tears swelling up. How much would that race mean to you, and why?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, right? I mean, it's just something that would mean a lot. You put a lot of effort into what we're able to do now, and so to have an opportunity like that would kind of, just be another step towards that, and would be something that's really cool, something that we're still working hard to still have a career in racing, and thankful to be surrounded by great people that make it possible for me to keep going in circles.
That's Cody Swanson. He's very fast here. And Ralph, I think you might be onto something. A very talented driver. It always is about the history from drivers coming from open-wheel rides like this to make their way to Indy. And I think you're right. Cody Swanson would be a prime candidate for something like that.
That's great. I'm glad you feel that way, Tony. That means the first $100 comes from you. All right.
I do need to follow
Jim,
up on Cody. One quick comment. I've seen Cody that emotional after race wins, but he's had the warm down lap. He's had the ability to process. He gets very emotional on victories. That was an instant emotion, how much it would mean for him to get a shot at the 500. That's cool.
Cody Swanson is going to go into every Hall of Fame that he's qualified for when it's all said and done, right? He's got that. The career is there. All the stats are there. Championships, trophies, big wins, it's all there. It's like Steve Kinzer, same thing, right? But just like Steve, we got to get him one shot at least at that race, because that race is what every racer dreams about. It is the biggest race in the world. Apologies to Le Mans and Daytona and everybody else. The Indy 500 is it. And every driver will tell you how much it would mean to them to say they've qualified for that race. They've had a shot at it. Just give me one shot, right? And I'd love to see somebody with the real means give him an opportunity. Unfortunately, our sport is so extremely costly that, you know, it takes a lot of money to get people there, and it's very rare that unless you have that kind of financial support, that people are just going to step up and give you a shot at one individual race. But man, if there was ever somebody that has earned the opportunity, proven he has the skill set, it's him.
Yeah, the late, great Brian Clausen was given an opportunity with a scholarship by winning the Mike Curb USAC National License, the super license, if you will, towards an Indy Lights ride. He applied it towards an Indy 500 drive. That has not been an opportunity for Cody Swanson to pursue. He doesn't race all the USAC races, nor does he have, as of yet, the funding to do that. But, man, I'm right with you, man. I'll give you $100. I'll double whatever Tony's going to give you right now to put Cody in something.
Well, hopefully by our talking about it, maybe it inspires somebody who truly has the means.
Well, Davey Hamilton got a shot at racing the Indy 500 by being an outstanding super modified racer. That's the infancy of the Indy Racing League. Donnie Beechler comes to mind. Billy Boat comes to mind. Stevie Reeves got a shot at racing an Indy car. That was the formula that they wanted to follow through, but things changed. The economics certainly have changed since the origins in the mid-90s.
Well, cars are a little bit bigger, a little nastier, a little wilder. These are the super modifieds, and we're going to go qualifying with them now. This is Ken Hamilton, Davey Hamilton Jr.'s grandfather, Davey Hamilton Sr.'s dad, and he just laid down a 14.649.
Got some laps in yesterday, not a lot, Ralph. He did not do a lot of practice runs. Saving up his energy, I think, at 82 years of age.
2023 National Sprint Car Hall of Fame inductee and a winner of so many incredible races and a true legend. And he wasn't sure he was in, he was out, he was in, he was out. Just about 2 days ago, he said, you know what? I'm in. Got my helmet, let's go. Here he is.
He ran 3 times this year at Meridian. It's not like he's just waiting around for somebody to call him up. He finished 7th in points this year. Finished 2nd at the Harvest Classic at Meridian, his home track that he used to promote. Still at it at age 82. That's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Shane Vanderpool, Layton, California. The Bowen Engineering cap sandblasting and powder coating, number 17. Grayon Silver finished 19th in the points this year in the Speed Tour Super Modifieds. Finished 10th in the Harvest Classic this year.
Sounding a little bit off here, Jim, with a 14.570. He lowers it to a 13.869.
These beasts are powered by 410s. We've got a couple of 360s in here. We got a couple of big blocks, a 463. Big block is what Ricky Oates is claiming underneath the hood of his exotic super modified. This is Nathan Bird going at it for his second division of the weekend in Jim Burgess's number 32. They call this car the Riddler. Nathan's first drive in a Super is here this weekend in the Open Wheel Showdown.
His goal is the Indy 500. Of course, his family has a rich history with that event, sponsoring racers and giving them opportunities there.
Rich Vogler included, the
Yeah.
Jonathan Bird cafeteria car.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And so Nathan, hoping to be the next piece of history for the Bird family at the famed Brickyard, hoping to get there in the next few years. And he is number one right now with a 13.327.
Car that Jim Burgess has campaigned the last several years, so it's a very, very well-prepared piece. Jim Burgess got a chance to drive a car that looks like nothing else here on the property. We'll see him qualify here shortly.
Looks like we've got 18 Supers here today, Jim. Unfortunately, 17 will take time. The 91 of Brian Wharf, who everybody was saying is one of the guys who had a serious shot at this win here today, stuffed it into the wall earlier and destroyed the car. He's okay, but the car got destroyed.
Yep. Hope to see him for competing here in the Wing Sprint Cars. He's a challenger for the 50 grand here tonight in that division as well. This is the 3U of Brian Schaefer Racing. Brian prepared that car that Ken Hamilton's racing. He also prepares this car and gets to race it on occasion. The Brian Schaefer Racing Love Machine, Doug Elliott Steakhouse in New Smyrna, Florida, sponsored 3U.
Out of Salt Lake City, Utah.
He had a chance to race in the Copper World Classic on 3 occasions, 1993, 94, and 96. The Classic that was held at Phoenix International Raceway every year from 1976 through 2009.
He is going to be 5th on the board.
I mentioned Ken didn't get a lot of laps. Brian did not take this car out on the optional Thursday practice day, so he just got some laps in yesterday and this morning.
The first position with a 13.327.
5-car Dave Adamson out of Salt Lake City.
Chapman Racing heads. Adamson Windows, the sponsors on this car that he owns.
Love the creativity of this division, especially when it comes to the aerodynamics.
3 Speedway, a Speed Tour super modified races this year. He finished 8th at Meridian, 7th at Magic Valley, and 11th back at Madeira, excuse me. Ran the USAC sanctioned supermods, and they were sanctioned in 1985 through 1988. He ran here in the Bullring in 85. He finished 8th. I think that's a while ago and probably a long time ago with the notebook.
He's number 2 right now with a 13.637. Here he comes, final lap, pushes to the line. Nope, Bird's still number 1. Adamson will stay with a 13.466.
It's a 1995 Hyder chassis with a 410 Rodak engine. Rodak's got the most power plants prepared for these cars, hanging off the left side frame rails and these exotic wonders. Lonnie Adamson won the last Copper World Classic in the car that Davey Hamilton Sr. is driving here tonight.
Here comes Richie Castor out of Brighton, Colorado in his black with the orange numeral, number 2. Jim, this is pretty much a run what you brung event for these supers too. It's
And this car
basically an unlimited rule book for them here.
And this is a chassis that Rich built himself in 2021. So not a lot of teams have gone to that extent, but Rich has raced other cars and said, you know what, I need to do this for myself. He's the 2023 ERA Englewood Racing Association champion. His 12th title since 1999.
Number 3 with a 13.525.
Perhaps more successful runs in Colorado than any other super modified racer in the last decade.
He's going to stay right there.
Let's see, 1999. How about the last 3 decades? Getting back in the 90s now. Rich Castor Jr., 3rd generation racer. His son Cody will be racing here with us today. In a team car. Cool to see how they are considered by many the first family of super modified racing in Colorado.
Here's the number 4.
Yep, that was his boy, Cody. Cody Castor. Car owned by his dad, the USA Performance Engines. Leary Shock Shop, RC3 Photography, number 4. That purple on there, it must be about 19 layers deep, man. When that car is in the glint of the sun, whoa, it is special to see that car up close. This is a 1999 Hyder chassis, likely one of Dad's cars that won championships. Cody Castor on the racetrack. First lap, 14.752. 14.752 for Cody. Rolls it on up a little bit faster. 14.169 on the second circuit. 14.169 for Cody Castor in the 4. That's good for 6th. Does not improve there. Super modified qualifying rolling on. We got some racing to do here. We got a C main for the wing sprint cars coming up. Supermods and midgets will race just features after they are done qualifying. We already know the midget fast qualifier is Cody Swanson. Next on track in the blue 19 that he owns, Art McCarthy Jr.
Out of San Jose, California.
Salon Blonde Stallion Graphics, Skip Govia Racing Engines, number 19. Rolled in here Thursday night at the end of practice. Got some time yesterday for the first time here at the Bullring.
Of course, the legendary San Jose Speedway. For those of us that grew up in Northern California, there's a rich history to the super modifieds throughout Northern California as well, Jim.
Yeah, it's great to see the traditions continue. Some of these cars have been racing since the 90s. Some of them raced in the 90s, early 2000s, and sat. Davey Hamilton Sr.
Art McCarthy goes to number 2 with a 13.372. And you just think of the legendary names that have come out of super modified racing.
Yeah. One of them's here as an honorary member of the pre-race festivities. Bentley Warren. Yeah. Tom Sneva. We talked about him, his nephew TJ. I don't think he's going to race today. He raced a wing sprint car yesterday.
Is this Ricky Otis?
Yes, it is.
3R. Jim Champagne, of course, Oswego
Ricky
legend.
Otts. Yes, Ricky Otts is a 68-year young driver in his own number 3. This is a 1993 Hyder chassis with a 468 big block Chevy underneath it.
Oh, boy. Hang on, Ricky.
7 super modified championships over the course of time in Alabama, Mississippi, Ohio, and Texas for Ricky Otts out of Canyon City, Colorado. Ran a couple of Copper World Classics, 4 of them, as a matter of fact, in super modifieds, 2.
So I was talking to John Nicotra, the championship-winning team owner from Oswego, this morning, and he was telling me definitely planning on having Auto Sutter League come on out here next year, bring their championship cars out, join the festivities, enter the race, take their shot at it.
We got the winner of the Oswego Classic this year here tonight.
Yep.
Dave Danzer made the show, yeah.
And don't forget, John also promotes a 5-race series out of Oswego with the Supers. So if you get a chance to go visit that famed Speedway, take in his summer series up there. It's a great series of races with the Supers.
That was just a wonky entry to the corner.
Yeah,
Something might have broken in their rear end.
Got the huckabuck going there, huh? Little left, little right.
They're trying to shift it now and do just that. Something broke underneath that number 3. They're trying to get that car working. Maybe pop out of gear. Maybe it's something else. As we talked about the originality in these cars and the effort they put in, the sheer force of getting air on that triple pane upper wing and the speeds these cars carry, a lot of the racing has been done on tracks that are maybe this size but not this high banked.
Yeah, about 13 degrees in the corners here.
A lot going on this little oval, 3/8 mile, but man, it's fast.
A lot of guys with bigger budgets have started to put these machines in wind tunnels, as you can imagine, and starting to learn some of the data out of that. A lot of guys have not.
Back in 1992, when the Super Modifieds were part of the Copper Road Classic each and every year, I looked it up. Ken Nichols won the pole position in the Super Mods that day. Finished second to Rebel Jackson Jr. But I recall looking then, I went back in April to the IndyCar race that same year in 1992. His speed as a pole-winning Supermod at Phoenix would have been 8th on the IndyCar grid.
I can believe it.
These guys definitely got into the IndyCar mindset in a big way on that big 1 mile. Obviously, they wouldn't have the big downforce wings on it for the mile track because those quarter-mile straightaways are forever. But, man, the exotic machines they had there, one of them, we know one there is racing here tonight with Davey Hamilton, Sr.
Davey was talking about that a little bit this afternoon when we were chatting. He said, you know, the supers out east and west have always kind of had a battle as to which car was better than the other, right? And he said, you know, for a long time, of course, it was the guys in the east. And the guys out west started coming around. They started building their cars lighter.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they got the advantage. And so the West Coast guys were quicker. Then back east, they started getting into the aero. They started finding greater speed. They got quicker. So it's kind of been going back and forth coast to coast.
Yeah, I recall because Phoenix is so fast. I recall just the exotic bodywork to get the air tucked in around the breathers, tucked in around the components. I mean, just the bodywork and the geniuses that were at work there. We see that the engine right in front of the engine there, that little kick out, that wing panel by the engine. They spent months on that, figuring that out over time, year after year, to race on a mile oval at Phoenix every year. Ricky Yachts, unfortunately, getting towed back to the pits here to minor halt. You can see the rest of the qualifying rundown yet to come. Our next car expected to be Davey Hamilton. I'm sorry, getting mixed up here. Next car out should be in the chute, ready to go. Austin Carter, who's doing double duty this weekend.
So Ricky is away, and here comes the next car out. And it is Austin Carter out of Clovis, California, running a sprint car as well.
Garrett Carter Enterprises, Carter Taekwondo, Goins Racing Engines, Genesso set up the sponsors on his number 10. It's a 1993 Hyder chassis with a 360 Chevy. He ran a bunch of King of the Wing sprint car races from 2017 through 2022. Never ran a full season, though. He's also raced in the Speed Tour Super Modified Series and Speed Tour Sprint Car Series the last couple of seasons.
He goes number 1, 13.203. And quicker still, first car into the 12-second bracket, 12.983.
Good job by Austin. He and his brother race karts together. Matter of fact, his brother Adam is still racing dirt wings karts. He actually ran at Chowchilla in a big national last weekend. Chowchilla Kart Nationals, dirt oval. This is the number 2A of Randy Anderson of Tacoma, Washington. The DG machine, Central Welding Supply, BR Motorsports, number 2A. Randy's out of Tacoma. Finished 12th this year in the points in the Speed Tour Super Modified Series.
And that 2A goes to number 5, 13.509. As he comes to the line for his final time under the clock. And he'll move up to 3 with the 13.351, and we go to Tony.
Austin Carter just pulled in, and how happy are you with that? You got that thing down in the 12s.
I felt pretty good. This car has been locked down on setup all weekend. We're just chasing little things with a brand new motor to work out. But no, I felt really good. I got good drivability. I can go high, low, enter in wherever I want, come off straight. So That's all I can ask for. It's up to me in 40 laps to work my way through if we got to start in an invert or whatever. But my guys have been working their tails off all weekend on double duty. So I can't thank them enough for giving me such a good car. And I think that we're going to be there at the end. We'll have a little, might have something for him.
We'll find out. He's got 140 laps on the car between this and the sprint car later this evening.
Jim, if there is a best appearing car award here, this is it.
For 2023, this is it. No matter the division, this is awesome.
The Mike Sargent car, behind the wheel, Kyle Vanderpool. What a stunning looking piece.
This is actually Jim Burgess behind the wheel.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a couple of sevens under.
And
Jim
he's
Burgess.
number 2. And that's where he's going to stay with a 13.042.
The Mike Sargent Vintage Race Cars. And this John Player special. MTF Graphics, Ties Tile Works, Simpson Race Products, the sponsors on this car.
Well, it's reminiscent of the JPS
Looks just
livery.
like it, man.
Yeah, but I mean,
Beautiful.
it's not running the John Player special
I was just thinking, though.
logos.
When
but
you
it's
see
the
that, that's the
JPS.
first thing I think of. Thank you, Mario.
It's what you're supposed to think of.
Yeah, it works.
Yes.
Chris Muller in the 95 out of Brighton, Colorado on the racetrack. Brian Schaefer Racing, Love Machine, Doug Elliott Steakhouse in New Smyrna, Florida sponsoring this one. Brian's got 3 cars here tonight. He's racing one of them. Ken Hamilton's in the other, and this is the 95 that he brought to the track for Chris Muller. 2013 Colorado Racing Association Coupe champion. He also won a title there, a Colorado National and a Grand American in 2003. Laying down a lap, good enough for P1 here, 12.684, 12.684, putting Muller to the top. That first lap was fast enough to put him on the pole position provisionally. Muller lays it down, 12.684. The only other car under 13 seconds is Austin Carter, shifted back to second with a 12.983 second lap. Next out is the orange-yellow number 5 at K of Jimmy White from Kamloops, British Columbia. The Jeff Kennedy-owned JT White Trucking, Warmer Dam Farms, Inland Kenworth, Dominion Lending Centers, Horizon Paints, number 5K. Driver hailing from Kamloops, BC. We have one driver from BC. This is this driver, and 7 states represented here in the Super Modifieds. Finished 10th this year in the Speed Tour Super Modified Series, but only ran 2 races, finished 3rd in both of them at Meridian.
Jim White with a 12.843. He's number 2.
Nice job by Jim White. Speeds are picking up. The sun's gone. Can't see the flags moving a whole lot here. Now the wind is moving a little bit from the backstretch to the front.
Let's go to Tony.
Fresh off track, Chris Muller, you said it was fun. How do you think it's going to last?
You know, we've been fighting a nail handle call all week. That's the first time we really got to play with it, but these guys coming up behind me are probably going to smoke you. But it was fun for a second. I got to thank Brian Schaefer Motorsports for giving me the opportunity to run this car, and IMS, Josh Fair, and my crew and my friends. I mean, it's just really cool to be able to play the race cars, and then I get to watch a really kick-ass sprint car race tonight, and that's going to be awesome too. So thank you guys for doing this, and just all in all, it's pretty cool to be racing in December, you know what I mean?
It is absolutely cool to be racing in December, and he's right, guys. This is a pretty badass deal.
All right, here's the 36 out on the track right now, Bobby Dalton. Bobby from San Martin, California.
He's raced the Midget at the Copper World Classic. 3 Western States Midget starts. Not a whole lot in the Super Modified results nationally, but man, he's got that 36 tuned up. Let's see where he ends up. P1, 12.432. We are picking up here at the Bullring. Fast qualifier as we speak. Bobby Dalton in that 410 Chevy. Hyder Hawk chassis, number 36. At age 16, he won the Rookie of the Year in the SRL Super Modified Racing League Max Light class. The SRL was formed in 2000 by Davey Hamilton Sr. and others. It ran 2000 and 2001 seasons for Super Modifieds here on the West Coast. This is the pride of Oswego, New York this year. He won the Oswego Classic, the 67th running, on the track towing all the way from Oswego, New York. Hometown boy for the first time in 20 years, a winner in the Oswego Classic this year. We find the Danzer man right there, racing.
This could be a real shot at the pole. The number 1 qualifying number is he's going to run it way deep into 3. Here he comes to the line.
Dave Danzer's
yep,
lap
number 1 with an 11.997. And that brings the crowd to their feet. And he's going maybe even quicker on this one. Little loose in 3, gathers it up. Here he comes. No, but an 11.997. And we still get to see Davey Hamilton run. Let's go to Tony.
Dave Danzer, yes.
Bobby Dalton just came off the racetrack, and look at this, getting this thing all covered up to hold some heat in it and doing everything else. Thought this was going to be a P1 interview for a second, but the last guy out just knocked you off the pole. But P2 so far, how do you think it's going to end up?
Pretty good. We'll just see how it goes. We had a little engine trouble, but we're getting after it, so we're getting better. Just keep working.
Keep working is what it's all about, gentlemen, and you never know, you might work yourself right to victory lane.
Davey Hamilton Sr. out on the 3/8 mile oval now in that bright orange number 1 with a 25-year-old engine, small block. His car about 300 pounds lighter, he said, than Danzer's. Let's see how he does. First lap on the clock. Here he comes to the line. Is it good enough? No, he's number 2 with a 12.243. How about lap number 2? Nice and deep into 3. Off of 4. Hamilton stays at number 2 with a 12.093. Dave Danzer with an 11.997. Number 1 on the board.
This car has been magical. It's been a great race car that he raced with the Trujillo family. Trujillo Farm still sponsoring this one, but he said he bought it back several years ago. What an awesome drive by Davey Hamilton Sr. Just raced one time this year in a super modified before getting his chance here at the Showdown.
Let's go check in with Tony.
Fast timer in the 11s. Dave Danzer, do you think that one's going to stand up?
I think there's a lot more there. We kind of freed the car up a little too much, but it's 40 laps now. Probably slide the wing back a little bit, tighten it up for the feature, so.
That is a scary thought, guys, if there's more left in this race car.
Set the wing back. Maybe he wants to trim it out a little bit. He talked about being loose. You saw the adjuster holes there on top of the roll cage. Putting that wing in the exact position he wants it, man. That's a wonderful piece. One thing Dave Danzer said he might have an advantage on the field is how new his car is. It was built in 2014, but certainly has been raced since. For the 35-year-old who's been racing at Oswego, his home track for many seasons. Started racing there in 2004. Dave Danzer, fast qualifier out of Oswego, New York, to be on the pole for the Supermods.
That was a great session, wasn't it?
Awesome. I think we're about 10 minutes before we begin the anthem package.
Do that.
Sounds good to us, Nate.
Well, things are getting ready here for opening ceremonies. And while we do that, we will show you a couple of things that our crew have put together for you. Keep you entertained while they get everything lined up for opening ceremonies. Pace car's off now. Getting ready to go green. Jason Blonde leads him to the line, and we're racing into one. Blonde trying to get the lead off the outside, going into 3. He's going to complete that move and do that, sliding just in front of Aaron Pierce as we complete lap number 1. What a move just to get this one underway.
On the 3/8 mile,